Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Sorrell, plant spirit medicine woman, and I'm a shamanic practitioner, a healer, a medical herbalist, and a teacher. And today I am in my role as Cacaoista, and I'm hosting a cacao ceremony where we will be journeying to connect to the spirit of air. This is part of a series of 5 journeys that will be going on. I've already taken a journey with earth, now we're doing air, and then we're going to move through the other elements over the next few months so that you connect with all 5 elements during this series. So I hope you are ready to join me for this ceremony, that your cacao is brewed if you are partaking of some ceremonial cacao today. It is absolutely fine to do this without any cacao or perhaps with a cup of tea, making sure that you're fully hydrated, because when we work with the gongs, they will work best if we have enough fluid in our body for all the cells of our body to vibrate freely, so they can help us to realign and shift anything out of our system to help detox us, to make space for the love and the light to come in that Mama Cacao is going to help us to receive today, and the element of air is going to help us to receive today. So let's begin. I'm going to begin by lighting our candles. Just looking around, there's quite a lot of different things to connect with and talk about. So let's start by lighting our candles one by one. We work through the different elements of fire, water, earth, and lastly the white candle, which represents air. So air in the Mayan tradition lives in the north direction on the medicine wheel, and we have the 4 elements and the 4 colours for the 4 directions on our altar today with our candles. And I am going to guide you now through the cleansing exercise. So we are going to, whenever we hold sacred space, we want to cleanse our energy field. We want to open the sacred directions so that we're tuned in to everything in a positive way, so that the sacred directions can protect us to only guide in positive energies into our experience, so that this is a healing ceremony. So let's begin to cleanse our energy body. We're going to use a Mayan technique where we cleanse using our hands and our intentions. And we're going to use our hands, first of all, to hold in front of our hearts. Now, our heart is a portal for love and light. So let's encourage that love and light to flow by holding our hands in front of our hearts. And now we're asking our heart to pour love and light into our hands. And then we're going to scoop that energy up over the top of our head, and we open up to the universe. We're giving our love and our light to the universe. And then we're allowing the love and light of the universe to shower us into this giant goblet shape that we're creating with our arms. And then the universe fills up our goblet, and the first thing we want to do is cleanse the outside of our aura. So our aura is about an arm's length around us. So we're imagining now that our aura is being cleansed by the love and light of the universe, and that's cleansing away any superficial energy which we want to clear away, any heaviness, any stickiness, any uncomfortable vibrations that we want to shift and just clear away. The next layer we're going to do is the emotional layer. So when something gets in, it can trigger us on an emotional level. So we're just going to clear away any sticky energies from the emotional body now. So hands in front of the heart again, and we're going to ask our heart to fill up our hands with love and light. And then we scoop that love and light up over the top of our heads, and we open up to the universe. And the universe showers us with love and light. And then we guide that love and light all the way through the aura, through the energy field, cleansing the emotional layers, cleansing away anything which isn't comfortable at all. If it doesn't feel good, it doesn't belong to you. So give it to Mother Earth. She's a powerful sorceress, and she can transform it in the same way she can compost our banana skins and turn them into gorgeous nutritional energy to grow new food. So now let's take our hands in front of our heart again. We're going to cleanse the last layer now, the physical layer. So inviting our heart to fill up our hands with love and light. And now scooping that energy up over the top of our heads, opening up to the universe, giving it to the universe, and then allowing the universe to shower us with love and light. And allowing that energy now to fill up this giant goblet that we're creating, and now channeling that energy all the way through that field of our physical layer into the ground, thanking Mother Earth for taking any heavy energy from our body. Now that could have manifested in a physical way for you, so that's just inviting her to suck any energy out of us that doesn't belong to us, any discomfort, any pain, out of the physical energy field. And we thank Mother Earth, and now our energy is clear. It will be easier for us to have a good experience today together and to connect with more clarity to the air energies that we're going to journey with. So now I'm going to call in the sacred directions, and once we've done that, then we can drink our cacao, and we're going to call in the sacred directions with our cacao. And the main tradition is to offer our cacao to the directions before we give it to ourselves, so that we are becoming more humble and we are tuning in to our place within the medicine wheel. So to do this, I like to begin in the east, which is not the tradition. The tradition in the Mayan way is to begin in the south, but I prefer, as I was trained, to begin in the east where the sun rises, and that feels more normal, more natural to me. And there is no specific dogma around this. It's fine to change and work from whichever direction. As long as you're inviting all the directions to join you for your ceremony, then you'll be in the right space. So let's begin with our cup of cacao, and we're going to face the direction of the east if you are able to, but it's okay just to do it with your intention if you need to just stay in one place. So as I connect in with the spirits of the east, I offer up my cacao cup, and I offer my cacao to the spirits of the east, and we call upon those sacred directions. We call upon the fire and the new beginning, the rising sun, the dawn, the new day, and we invite in these energies, and we invite in the spirit guide of eagle and condor, who help us to fly high and see with an eagle's eye, to move into the space of ether so that we can carry our dreams all the way up into the ether field, so that our dreams can begin to be woven into our reality. Beloved ones, we welcome you. Oh. And then we tune in to our beloved spirits of the south. And the south, we offer you our cacao, and we call upon the water energy, and we call upon the warmth of the noonday sun, and we call upon Mama Snake, who teaches us how to shed the old ways, to release anything which no longer belongs to us, which no longer serves our path as we move through life, through the medicine wheel. Thank you for joining us today in ceremony. Aho. And now we tune into our beloved sacred direction of the west, and we offer our cacao to the west, to the earth for the fertility of life, to the dusk, to the setting sun. And we celebrate where we are, how far we've already come on our journey through life. And this is a place where we connect into the darkness, as we invite Mama Jaguar to join us, to remind us how to live a life as a peaceful warrior, to face our shadow with grace and ease and bravery, so that we can bring ourselves through the shadow realm into the light. Beloved ones, we welcome you. And then we join our connection to the north. Now, the north element is where, the north direction is where the air element resides in this tradition, in the main tradition that we're working with today. And we call upon the element of air. We call for clarity, and we call our ancestors, those who have passed before us and those who are yet to be born. We call the night and the bright moon shining to join us in ceremony today. And we also call upon the spirit of hummingbird to join us, and we share with you our cacao today. And we invite you to help us to trust this path, to trust the journey, even though we can't see the way ahead, to trust, just to take it one step at a time. Hummingbird also teaches us to only accept the best in life, to be clear about our intentions. And so, beloved ones, we welcome you. And then we connect in with the earth beneath our feet. If you'd like to, you can drop down to the floor. You can touch the earth with your hands. I'm going to connect just with my feet today so I can stay on camera with you. And as we connect in with the element of the element of earth is in the west. We connect in with Mother Earth herself, which is a slightly different vibration, a slightly different story. We connect in with Mother Earth, And we welcome you and we thank you, Mother, for this cacao that you've gifted us today. And we want to share our cacao with you. And we also want to invite in all our earthly relations, the plant people, the stone people, the animals of the water, the air and the land, the creepy crawly ones, the slithery slimy ones, the viruses, the mushrooms, the bacteria, all the beings that make up this reality, this earth that we live upon. And this is a good time as well to ask for forgiveness for the destruction that we've caused consciously and unconsciously to this earth realm, to ask for forgiveness and also support in learning a new way as we enter this new age where we are learning how to live in harmony once again with all our earth relations. We ask Mother Earth's help and our earth relations for help with this journey, with this teaching that they're offering us at this time. And we thank you for joining us in ceremony. And now we connect up to Father Sky. Father Sky, we welcome you. We welcome in the breath of life, the winds of change, the blue skies and the grey. And we offer you this cacao today in our ceremony so that you may join us in this beautiful cacao ceremony to connect in with the air element that you help us to connect with again. And we call upon, as I'm going to spin around on my little spinny chair, call in the directions of the universe. So we call in our grandmother moon, our grandfather sun, our star nations, and all the cosmic relations, the planets, the stars. We welcome them all and we offer them this cacao. Thank you for joining us in ceremony today. And the final direction is within, the connection that we hold to Great Spirit, the creation energy that flows through all things. However you connect to this energy, the ether, the direct connection to that creative force, we welcome you to our ceremony today. Please help us to connect to each other in this circle that we are hosting online today. Please help us to connect in with the spirit of ether and to the spirit of air so that we may know how the air within us can become more balanced and our relationship with air can become a more sacred one. So now please start drinking your cacao. Now I'm going to guide you through the next few minutes through the process that we're going to go on to journey together to meet with the element of air and the stories that air might hold for you. I've done this journey myself so that I can guide you on this journey really well. And there are so many layers to air that I would like you to explore with me. So I'm just going to introduce you to the journey process and guide you through a little bit of what air has to offer for us in this journey. So when we go on a journey, we're going to journey into the lower realm because the lower realm is the inner realm. It represents our inner landscape. And as we journey through the elements, I want you to connect to the elements within you, within your body, within your physical experience, so that you can get a really grounded grasp of what they mean to you personally. So for this journey, I'm going to invite you to use your imagination to expand your consciousness. So we're going to do that by expanding our consciousness by imagining there's a white light in our mind and it's expanding out and coming back to being a little tiny speck of light in our mind's eye again. And this speck of light within our mind's eye is going to be like a star, a little twinkly fairy that's going to go on a journey for us. And it represents our third eye consciousness, our shamanic brain, which is able to see into the different dimensions of reality. So there are 3 layers of reality in the shamanic tradition. There's this layer that we live on day to day. There's the lower realm, which represents our inner consciousness, which appears as a unspoilt landscape. So that's where we'll be going today, into a natural landscape where we can explore our connection to the air element. And then there's the upper realm, which represents the heavenly realms and our connection to our higher spirit, our higher consciousness, which is guiding us through this experience of reality from a higher perspective. This is the place where we often connect with angelic beings. But for today, we're going to go and explore the lower realm, our inner realm, together. And to do that, we will first of all journey through the middle world landscape to a place in nature. And I'm going to invite you to explore a place in nature that you already know, you already feel connected to. Now, those of you who've journeyed with me or perhaps other shamanic guides before may already have a place in nature that you'd like to connect to. That's wonderful. If you've not done this type of work before, then just think about a place you like to go to. Now, this could be a garden, it could be a forest, it could be a meadow, it could be up on a mountain. It needs to be somewhere you've actually been to before so that you have that physical connection. When we get there, we'll think about going down into the lower realm. This is where it looks a little bit like Alice in Wonderland, if you've read the story or watched the movie, where she falls down a tunnel and she goes down, around, deeper and deeper. And then we enter into the lower world landscape. Our feet touch the ground. We enter the lower world landscape. And there to meet us in that lower world area will be the 5 elements. And we're going to call upon the air element today to step up and guide us on a journey, and so that we can experience a deeper connection with them. So if you are ready to begin, please continue to get your space ready as I begin to guide you through this process. I just want to momentarily reflect upon the journey that I had. So there may be little parts that we can connect you to when you go into the lower realm. One of the main experiences I had with air when I journeyed to meet the spirit of air was the remembering that actually most of the time that we work with the air element, we're not conscious of it in any way, because we're just breathing in, breathing out. We just go with the flow with that process. It's only really when we're sick that when we get a flu or a lung infection, or we get blockages in our nasal passages, or a really sore throat where we feel tight in the throat, where we can notice how important the air element is within us. So today, the air element, I would like you to recognize the importance of the air element from that perspective, from the perspective of how precious air is to our life. Without air in our lungs, there is no life. From the moment we leave our mother's womb, it's up to the air to gift us our life. Every breath that we take is a gift of life from the air element. Without the air element, we wouldn't have the opportunity to sing, to cry, to whisper, to laugh, to express ourselves verbally, and to be heard. And how important that is. The air is able to carry our thoughts for us, but also the air carries thoughts from other people to us. And that's particularly important when there's a strong wind. And strong winds often come during this time of year where the north energy is more powerful, where we're journeying into the time of the solstice, the time of the winter solstice, where the air is strong. And we may pick up energies from other people, stories from other people more easily. So when there is a strong wind, it's very important to remain grounded, to be the calm in the center of that storm, so that you don't get triggered too much by other people's heavy energies or thoughts that are being carried on the wind. So the wind can carry joyful song, or it can carry toxic thoughts, depending on what you're tuning into. Now, we've called in our sacred directions today, so with a bit of luck, we're only going to receive the highest vibrations today as we tune into the air energies. It's a good idea also, as we journey, to tune into how we can be in a positive reciprocal relationship with air. So when I tune into my reciprocity, how I can create a positive relationship with air invited me to plant more trees. Now, I've already planted 30 trees in my garden over the past 8 years that I've lived in this particular garden space. But there's space for a few more, so that's what I'll be focusing on over the next year, finding spaces, digging holes, planting some more trees. And I'd also invite you during this journey process to ask how you can be in a reciprocal relationship with the air element. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. There is so much more within this that I could talk you through, but I want you to experience your own connection with air. And then when we come together, either if you want to join me for a Zoom call after this journey that we go on today, then if you're joining live, then you'll have that opportunity to join me in circle afterwards, and we can have a chat about what the air told us, what experience we had with air. For those of you who are joining it as a recording, then you can still get in touch with me. You can leave a little note a comment underneath the YouTube clip that I can respond to, or you can get in touch with me another way. Okay, so let's begin. If there's any more preparations that you need to make, then you are welcome to pause this video, even if it's live, because it will hold the space, and then just start it again when you're ready to begin. So make yourself comfortable. And as you're making yourself comfortable, I'm going to begin to play the gongs for you. And there may be other instruments that play for us today. We'll just see who comes. And I want you to begin by lying down, making yourself really warm and cozy. Or perhaps you'd prefer to sit up supported. But getting really cozy and closing your eyes. Now the gongs are going to start to guide you into a deeper state of consciousness. As the left brain listens to the sounds that the gongs make, they help to distract it so that your right brain consciousness, your manic brain, can wake up a little more. And if your left brain is very chatty, it's the analytical, chatty brain that we try and silence when we meditate, is loud today, then try and turn the volume down on it. Imagine that there is a volume button or a volume dial in your mind that you're just turning down, so that your right brain consciousness, your shamanic brain, can tune into the clarity that you need for this journey today. So let's begin to relax our bodies. Let's relax our forehead and our eyes. Let's relax the muscles around the eyes so they become really floppy and heavy. The eyelids, so they feel so heavy, they just can't be bothered to open during this journey. And just know that I'm going to guide you all the way into the lower realm and home again, so you're really safe to explore the lower realms today. Let's relax down through the jaw, through the neck, through the shoulders. Let's invite relaxation to spread through us like a wave down through our arms, into our hands, into our feet and our toes. Inviting that relaxation to spread down through the back, through the chest. Down through the pelvis, the abdomen, into the legs, into the feet and the toes. Just allowing waves of relaxation to spread through you, from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes now. Now we're going to tune into our mind's eye, and we're going to do that by imagining that there's a tiny white light in the center of our mind. The rest of our mind is completely dark and empty, like a void in space, except for a tiny white light. And that tiny white light is like a star far away in the distance, and it begins to grow bigger and brighter and bigger and brighter. And as it grows bigger and brighter, it starts to fill up that void. Until that void is completely full of light. And then it starts to move into the areas of your body too. It starts to move into your face. It starts to move into your hair. It starts to move down through your shoulders, into your arms, into your hands. It starts to move down through your back, your neck. Down into your torso, down into your abdomen, your pelvis, and all the way down through your legs, into your feet and your toes. Now that white light expands out of you as well. It starts to expand out, first just an inch, but then even further it expands out into your aura, about 1 meter around you. So now you're inside a beautiful white light. You're standing in the center of it. Now let's expand our consciousness even further so it fills up the whole room, that white light filling up the room that you're in now. And this white light acts a little bit like a sensory skin, so you can feel the objects in the room, maybe the consciousness of the plants if you have plants in your room. If there's any animals with you, maybe you're feeling into them or other people. Now let's expand our consciousness a little bit further. Let's take it out into the landscape around us, 1 mile wide. So imagine that your aura has expanded to be as big as 1 mile, as wide as 1 mile, and up into the sky above you 1 mile, and down into the soil 1 mile as well. And so you are in the center of a giant, mile-wide bubble. And again, you can feel into the earth beneath your feet, the warmth of the earth beneath you. And you can feel into the cool air above you. And on one side of you, maybe you can feel the trees. Maybe you can feel the little birds roosting in the trees. Maybe you can feel cats or dogs walking around in their gardens or being taken on walks through parks. People, if you live in an urban environment, going about their daily business. Now let's bring our consciousness back to the room that you were in. So it's just you in your room, shining a white light. Now let's bring that white light back to being the aura around us, just 1 meter wide. And now let's draw that white light back up into our body again. Let's draw that energy all the way up into our mind's eye again. So it is just a tiny spot of pure white light. Now I want us to allow our white light to go on a journey for us. So I'm going to invite your white light now to leave through your crown chakra. Imagine that little part of you, that conscious part of you, is flying out through the top of your head, and it's dancing around the room excitedly because it knows it's going to go on a journey, and it's going to leave to go on a journey to that place in nature we thought of earlier. So thinking of that place in nature where you'd like to travel to with your mind's eye, allowing that little fairy light to fly out through a window or a door. And it's scooped up by a golden mist that keeps it warm and sheltered from the cold winds. And it carries you across the landscapes, across the fields, across the farms, across the urban environments and the forests. And soon you can see the environment where you're going to land, the landscape, the place in nature where we're going to begin our descent into the lower realms. And you see it coming into view, and you begin to come into land like an aeroplane descending. And you feel your feet touch the ground in that sacred space, that place in nature. Just begin to become familiar with it now. The golden mist subsides, so that you can really tune into the environment and just noticing the environment, noticing what time of day it is, what what time of year it is here. It could be different to the place you've left your body. And now we're going to look for a way to go down. Now remember, this is your imagination we're working with, so it's possible that you can already see a way to go down. Maybe there's a rabbit hole like Alice in Wonderland journeying through. Or maybe there's a door in a tree. Maybe there's a cave. I want you to look now for the way that you would like to enter the lower realm landscape. And if it's not immediately clear, just create something with your mind, using your imagination to create it. This is daydreaming. And so we create the dream, but also we will be offered symbols and images and visions and experiences. Sometimes we're very visual people and we'll see very clearly, but sometimes we're more kinesthetic and we'll sense things, sometimes in a physical way, or sometimes we'll just hear a story in our mind. So let's go down now through that tunnel on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, going down into the lower realm. Down and down, going deeper and deeper and deeper into the lower realm. You might feel like you're falling or sliding down deeper and deeper. And as you are taking that trip deeper and deeper into the lower world landscape, you feel your consciousness shift and alter. And you know that you're being safely protected and guided because we've called in the sacred directions. And our spirit guides and the elements are ready and waiting for us. And we're almost ready to come into land in that lower world landscape. So feel into that experience now of slowing down your descent like an aeroplane coming into land, and our feet touch the ground and we're in the lower world. Now in this lower world landscape, quite often we enter into a cave. So you might be imagining now that you're in a cave, but wherever you are, the 5 elements are waiting for you in a circle. They're all sitting together, meditating. And you invite the earth, forgive me, I did earth last month. We invite the air element to join us today to give us guidance. And the air element will stand up for you. And as you look at them, just become familiar with how they look. Perhaps you notice something about them that looks familiar. And I want you to explain to the air element that you're here today to connect with them, to explore your connection with them, to explore the power and the potential of the air element in our lives. Now the air element may wish to take you on a journey. To show you something within the lower world that can help you to understand what the air element means to you and how to have a healthy relationship with the air element. And you may have a particular question in mind for the air element. Maybe there's something you're working through at the moment in your life. Maybe it's a relationship issue, or maybe it's a work issue, or maybe you're just exploring consciousness together. So if you have questions, then have a conversation with the air element. You may want to ask for some healing. So spend some time now with the air element while I gong for you, and allow your consciousness to drift. And I'll call you back to your bodies in a little while when you've had a chance to really deepen your connection to this air element. To come home to our bodies. But before we do, we have one task to complete: to ask the air element how we can be in service, how we can develop a positive reciprocal relationship with them, what we can do for them, how we can nurture them. So whether you're connecting visually, kinesthetically, just using your awareness in another way, connect up with that air element now within you and ask what you can do to feed it, to nurture it. Back home to your body. So if you've gone on a journey within the lower realm landscape, please ask your guides to bring you back to place where you began your journey, where you first entered this realm. And see yourself now coming back to that space, back to the portal. And you can feel the tug of your body calling you home. And it starts to lift you up through that portal, up and round and up and round. You begin to lift up away from the lower realm, thanking the air, waving goodbye as you leave for the experience that you've had, the gratitude you've had. And you feel yourself now reaching the crust, and you bounce out of the earth into that landscape, that nature space where we began the journey. And the golden mist comes and scoops you up and lifts you up into the sky and carries you across the landscapes. And you feel yourself being pulled home like you're on a string, perhaps like you're a kite being reeled in. Being carried across the forest, the farms, the urban environments, the countryside, all the way home to your body. And you can see the place where your body is resting coming into view. And you start to glide down like an aeroplane coming into land. And you get to the window or the door where you left. And the golden mist subsides so that you can fly back into your space. And as you fly back into your space, you see your body resting there, breathing gently. And you fly back in through the crown chakra, through the top of your head. Welcome home. You may have experienced some visualizations, or perhaps you had more of a kinesthetic experience. And even if you just fell asleep, that's absolutely fine. Your subconscious will have been doing some work receiving and realigning with the sounds of the gong and with the story that we've been telling. And so I hope you are waking up from this experience feeling refreshed, feeling calm, perhaps feeling more clarity, and perhaps you've had some questions answered or some healing. So before we meet or we share, if we're coming together after this live experience on Zoom, we're going to close this circle. So for those of you who are joining this as a recording or would prefer just to stay in your own space and not come and have a Zoom call, then you can just drift off knowing that you have completed your ceremony and you're ready to carry on with your day. I really find it's an incredibly helpful practice to journal after you've done a shamanic journey like this, to then remember the experience. When I did this journey, I've got like a 3-4 page of information that came through for me. And it's not necessary for you to have that much. Maybe you just got a word or two or a phrase or two that can come home with you. But whatever came through, find a way to integrate it, sit with it, reflect on it, so that it does shift you, so that it does make a difference to your life and your experience and joy of connecting with the element of air. Okay, so we're going to close our ceremony by saying goodbye to all the sacred directions. So I'm just going to get my rattle, and I'm going to shake my rattle as we say goodbye to the directions. So join me, if you will, in that letting go. Beloved spirits of the East, we thank you for joining us in ceremony today. We thank you for helping us to journey into the ether and discover our connection to the air in new ways. And we release you. Ho. Beloved spirits of the South, we thank you for joining us in ceremony today. We thank you for helping us with the letting go process, for releasing anything which no longer serves us so that we can expand and receive more of the newness, the new things that want to come and be a part of our reality. Thank you, and we release you. Beloved spirits of the West, we thank you and we release you. We thank you for everything that you've brought to our ceremony today and for holding us in sacred space and for helping us to be brave as we journey into that inner realm. Potentially sometimes when we go to that space we face our shadow. So thank you for all your support through this process. And good night. Oh. Beloved spirits of the North, we thank you. We thank the air element especially for today for helping us to connect with you and the gifts, the knowledge, the wisdom, the clarity that you bring to our lives and the breath of life. Thank you. Oh. And we release you. And connecting in with the earth energies and all of our earth relations, we thank you and we release you. And Father Sky, we thank you. We thank you especially today because you are the one that helps us to connect in with that air that comes into our lungs. You gift us the breath of life, the winds of change. You hold the air element in that protective atmosphere that protects us from the void of space. So thank you so much for everything you give to us, Father Sky. Thank you. And we release you. And we thank Grandmother Moon and Grandfather Sun, the star nations, the planets, and all of our cosmic relations. We thank you and release you. And lastly, we thank Great Spirit, the connection of creation that flows through all things. We thank you and we release you. And anybody else that came through for you today, just spend a moment thanking them, releasing them. And thank you. Thank you for joining me in circle for this ceremony and for doing this important healing work. Every little piece of healing we do for ourselves affects everything and everyone on this planet. Our healing ripples out and touches everybody that we touch. And as we are all connected through breath, then really we're affecting everything and everyone through this healing process. So I hope you've enjoyed today's ceremony. I hope you've experienced everything that you need, everything you desire from today's ceremony. And I look forward to hearing from you so that I can learn too about your connections and about how this experience shifts your consciousness and helps you and supports you. So the next element that we'll be journeying through with this particular series will be the element of fire. And we'll be doing that for our next new moon in January 2023. So this particular ceremony we've held space and we've recorded at the solstice in 2022. So if you're tuning in at a different time, it's absolutely fine to do this at any time of year. But it may be interesting to remember as you're journaling that this was the time of year it was recorded. There may be certain synchronicities that are linked to that time. So I look forward to seeing you all in ceremony again soon. Thank you for joining me.